Hello everybody, I'm George from Wines by Nature, and I'm here with Ray, the general manager and bartender over here at Ruggeros Restaurant. We're all at the shops at Eastwind, and we're going to learn how to make a couple of really nice summer cocktails. How you doing, Ray?
Good, George. How you doing?
Good. Good
to see you again.
Well, can you show us some of your signature drinks that you have here at Ruggeros?
Yes, indeed. All right, so the first drink is my most famous cocktail on the list. It's the first one we actually made for the store. It's my personal favorite. All right, this is called a Pineapple Express. You notice here we're going to start with some fresh cucumbers. It's a really perpetual spring, summer drink. Really tropical, very fresh. All right, so we're going to start with some fresh cucumbers. We're going to use our basil simple syrup. Something you can very easily make at home. Boil down some water and some sugar, about a 50-50 ratio. Boil that down for a few minutes until you get a nice syrup. Turn off the stove, throw some fresh basil sprigs in there, let it steep for about 2 minutes. Really good in teas, cocktails, very versatile use, really good thing to have around the house.
Be careful with your simple syrup. It gets hot and holds the heat a long time, so make sure you have some patience letting it cool. I know that firsthand.
All right, so now we're going to take these ingredients and we're just going to muddle them up.
So those are like my two favorite, sights and sounds of summer is the cucumber and basil. For my home garden, we got a hedge of basil that we have because we love having a fresh tomato, mozzarella, and the basil. And cucumbers is what's really nice. What you can do is make cucumber water. It's very refreshing, clean, and also like the cucumber salad, right?
Oh yeah.
You get the fresh tomatoes, the shaved red onion, the cucumber salad, the vinaigrette.
Dill, sour cream.
Those are something that just two things that tell me freshness and cleanliness.
Absolutely. All right, to add to the freshness of this cocktail, we use what's called Saint Germain. Saint Germain is an elderflower liqueur. Another really versatile ingredient. I'm sure everybody's seen this behind the bar, your favorite spot. A lot of people don't use it. It is absolutely delicious. Definitely use this at home when you're having parties. A little half ounce in a lot of your cocktails will make a major difference. All right, for our purposes, we're going to use about an ounce.
And that just helps with the aromatics. It's hard to describe elderflower unless you had it, but I think everyone has had the Saint Germain at one time.
All right, so now we're going to ice down our shaker here. All right, we're going to fill this up with our house-infused pineapple vodka. Okay, these are fresh pineapples, Tito's vodka. You can use any liquor you'd like at home. The secret about pineapples, once you skin these and you throw them in liquor, in about 2 hours, you completely changed it. It tastes completely like pineapples. Definitely the best fruit for infusions, in my opinion.
Just 2 hours is all it takes?
About 2 hours, and you're ready to go.
And this will hold, how long will this hold?
This will hold easily over a week.
Awesome. So if you have a party, don't be afraid to scale up to this, but you can also scale it down, right?
Do it a few days ahead of time. Now we're going to give this a nice vigorous shake.
Shaking mixes the ingredients, chills it down very quickly, and also just adds a little bit of water to the mix, just to cut down on that. You don't want to drink the taste of alcohol. You want it to taste delicious. In some different techniques, this is necessary to get that balance.
Absolutely. All right, so for this cocktail, we use a double strainer. All right. Reason being, just to get all that cucumber pulp out of the mix there. And this just leaves you with a really clean, crisp, refreshing summer cocktail. All right, that is our Pineapple Express. A nice froth on top. Can't beat it.
That looks delicious. I'm going to try this if you don't mind.
Well, of course. Let me know what you think.
Oh boy. It's just summertime. It's afternoon cocktail hour cocktail. The frothiness, the richness kind of hits you up front. It's nice to grab a little sip of that and help you get acclimated to the drink. But yeah, it has those three ingredients well together. It tastes like cocktail hour. It's just
a cocktail with no soda, no foreign ingredients, nothing processed. Just a little bit of sugar in the syrup. Otherwise, it's all fresh ingredients, some herbs.
No, I would not call this cocktail sweet. I call it very balanced and very refreshing.
Thank you.
Awesome.
All right. So, next cocktail we're looking to make today is a twist on an old classic. My personal favorite cocktail is the Old Fashioned. We do around here, we do a blood orange Old Fashioned. So we're going to walk you through the steps on that one.
Now, why blood orange?
So blood orange is one of my favorite cocktail ingredients. There's also a company called Salerno. So Salerno makes a Sicilian blood orange liqueur. Best blood oranges coming from Sicily. So we use fresh Sicilian blood oranges here. We use a Salerno liqueur. This is good as an after-dinner cocktail on the rocks. I really like using it as a mixer. You can supplement this with some of your vermouths or your sweeter syrups, substitute this ingredient.
So it kind of takes that old-fashioned and turns into a little summertime twist?
A little modern twist.
Awesome.
All right, so we're going to use an orange, we're going to use a cherry. Now
the cherry, we discussed it before. That's not your typical bright red maraschino.
No, sir. So this is called a Bing cherry. You'll notice the color here is a lot darker. This isn't your bright red, maraschino cherry. This has an incredible depth of flavor. There's no dyes in this. There's no bleaching like you find with maraschino cherries. Those are for Sundays. These are for cocktails.
Those look to me always like kind of, now being a little bit older, slightly juvenile part of my youth. But for my cocktail, I want it to taste good, not just look good.
Absolutely. And when you muddle up these Bing cherries, they actually end up looking a little better in my opinion anyway. All right, so your typical old-fashioned, you would typically sprinkle some sugar, hit it with a shot of water. That's a classic way to go about it, to dissolve the sugar, and then muddle up. Being that the Salerno is very, very sweet, we supplement the blood orange Salerno with, we substitute it out for the sugar. So do about a ½ ounce. Okay. The other staple of an old-fashioned, everybody knows, is bitters. I typically use an Angostura bitters, which is citrus-based bitters. We like to use what are called Aztec chocolate bitters. A little more depth of flavor. It's a little more of a cocoa flavor, not as bright. Kind of balances well with the bourbon and the.
Very similar to it. That would be like the darkest chocolate you would have at the candy shop.
Right. All right. So bitters, always 2 dashes. All right. Muddler.
What that does is kind of gives it the tension, right? It gives a little bit more of that mouthfeel.
Gives it a bite.
And muddling here is what you're doing is you're breaking down the skins of the cherry, and you're kind of working the rind and the oils out of the rind of the orange. All those essence of oils really go a long way in a cocktail.
Releasing all that flavor. All right. Another little twist that we do on the old-fashioned, typically made with rye. I really like Bullet bourbon. I think the little bit more of the sweetness of the bourbon goes really well with this cocktail. I always drink my old-fashions with bourbon, so it's something I just felt was right for the list. All right, bourbon, you're going to go about 2½ ounces. Okay.
And with bourbon compared to rye, rye I always kind of think like the violin, a little high-toned spice.
Right.
And I think the bourbon has a little more of that corn barley base, so it has a little more mouthfeel and texture, which is what you're going for.
Absolutely. So you'll notice with this cocktail, we did not build it over ice. You'll see a lot of people build cocktails over ice. Personally, I don't like to build over ice. The reason being is you dilute your liquor the entire time, then you shake, you dilute it further. Something like this cocktail is not meant to be diluted, it's just meant to get cold. So you build your ingredients in the glass first, all right, and just give them a stir. Just combine all those oils, all those essence, all right. And then we will just simply fill with ice, all right, and let that cool naturally. And notice the ice isn't completely melting down because we're not stirring it around. We're not shaking it. You can sip on this one for a while without totally diluting your drink. All right, and that is our blood orange old-fashioned.
And let's take a little taste here.
What do you think?
I think that's one of the most complex old-fashions I've had. I think that bourbon orange twist really does what it's supposed to do in the season that we're in. I think it has that brightness, that richness, without being heavy. And that orange just really lingers and goes on, and the orange really finishes up, so it reminds you summertime. So yeah, that's
definitely what we're going for.
Yeah, very long finish on that. That's
absolutely. Yeah, it's meant to be a sipper. You sit on that one for a while. All right. So last but not least, we're going to do an old Italian favorite. It's actually George's favorite cocktail we're going to make here. We're going to do a little twist. All All right, so this is known as the Negroni. George, you want to lead us into a little history on the Negroni?
Well, Negronis are the cocktail to have, especially in a place like this. You're about to sit down to a big family-style meal. And what the Negroni does with the bitterness of the Campari, it just gets your palate and your stomach ready for a big meal. And so I'll have a Negroni before a big meal or sometimes after when I'm in the mood. I just think the bitterness and the brightness, just like a good Italian wine, cleans the palate and gets you ready. And the Negroni just gets your juices flowing. It's a must-have, especially leading into a really delicious, awesome meal that you know you're not going to be able to stop eating.
All right, so basis of a Negroni is always gin. So here we use Hendrick's gin. All gin is based with juniper berries. Hendrick's adds a little more botanicals. It's a very, very, very floral gin. Has a little more flavor. That's my personal favorite. All right, so for our Negroni, we're going to start a little heavy-handed. We're going to start with 2 ounces of gin.
And the aromatics really help with gin is very aromatic to begin with, but the Hendrick's just has that little more extra, I guess, summertime feel to it.
Absolutely. Right. Most important ingredient in a Negroni, of course, is Campari, and Campari is an Italian.
It's an Amaro, which is a bitter. It's a bitters, bitter liqueur. Again, like a lot of the Italian liqueurs, aperitifs, digestives, it just has that bitterness. And Aperol is an aperitivo. They're kind of similar family, but this is one that's going to be the more intensely flavored.
Definitely a little more bitter. All right, for this, always 1 ounce.
And this is going, that is what's really going to freshen up your cocktail.
Yeah. All right. Again, we're going to use a little bit of this Salerno. Typically in a Negroni, you'd be using sweet vermouth. Sweet vermouth is a pretty old school ingredient. I try to stay away from the vermouths a little bit here. There's so much more depth of flavor and so many different ingredients now. So we're going to supplement that again with our Salerno for that sweetness. Give that a little blood orange flavor. About a ½ ounce is enough. You just want to touch. Now the Negroni is a very specific cocktail preparation. For a Negroni, again, you build your drink without ice. You're going to ice your shaker. You always stir a Negroni with the ice. All right. This is causing some ice dilution. You're always supposed to have some dilution in your Negroni to offset that bitterness of the Campari, and the botanicals on the gin. From here, fresh ice in your new glass. Pretty much any cocktails you're going to make, margaritas, martinis on the rocks, gimlets, anything that you're going to be serving over ice that you're going to shake first, always pour over fresh ice. The reason being that it's going to cause your drink to dilute a lot less after you stir it. So if you notice here, you will not see this ice drop at all. All you're pouring in there is your cocktail, unadulterated. And you can hang out on that drink for a while. You can hold it in your hand if you're outside in the summer. All of your liquid is already cooled to temperature. So now your ice isn't going to melt. This drink will last about twice as long when you're hanging out and talking with the family, sitting around the table.
And both get garnished with oranges?
This one will be an orange peel. Alright, so me, I like to swirl around the rim. That way you get that nice taste of orange.
And that little oils there. And
that's it. That is the blood orange Negroni.
Again, a perfect twist on a classic cocktail. Again, it screams the summer. The orange and that bitterness really interacts really well together. And you can sip on it, but it might go down a little quicker because again, this is really delicious. And it's funny how you do 3 different ice techniques: straight up, on the rocks, and straight over ice. Each of them has their little place. But the Negroni, you're sipping it and just kind of preparing the body for the big meal.
Absolutely. Put you in that Italian mood.
Excellent. Well, come see Ray. He's a general manager here. You'll see him work in the room most of the night. He's also got a very tight eye on the bar. Come say hello to him if you'd like to have these made for you. If you'd like to make them yourself, come see me. I'm over just up the block at Wines by Nature, all in the same complex here at the shops at Eastwood. And I think we're going to do a couple more of these cocktails, either every once in a while or definitely by the season. So stay tuned for other cocktails that come up in the season. So thanks, Ray. This was very informative. I think they're very delicious, and yeah, I look forward to making these things myself.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
Thank
Ray.
you, George. Thanks for stopping by. Thank you, folks. We'll see you soon.
See you soon.